Hi, my name is Azure. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I usually access my Akashic records and ask my guides questions that we have that we're curious about. So today we're talking about soul fragmentation and what does that mean and what do we need to know about it. So let's see what they have to say. So they're taking us back to the concept of the soul being, let's say, a whole pie, and you as an incarnation of your soul, you are a piece of the pie incarnated. And so part of your higher self is your higher self is like the rest of your soul, and maybe there's other pieces of the pie that are kind of transitioning back into reincorporating or whatever it is. But there's a piece of the pie that's incarnated in this life now, and that's you. And so what a soul fragment is actually, they need to explain something else first too. So you have this piece of the pie, you're incarnated, and that's who you come into this lifetime being, is that piece of the pie. And what happens sometimes is that, and this typically happens when there is a major trauma, is that there is a sliver of this pie that basically disassociates. And the reason that it does that is because the trauma is so severe or so big that it's the only means of survival. And so that part of you disassociates from the piece of the pie and it fragments. So soul fragmentation. You could call it soul disassociation, but that seems more broad, and this really is just a fragment. So soul fragmentation feels like a more accurate description. And so what happens is this part of your soul, it's like it's still there, but it is not incorporated into the piece of the pie anymore. You can picture it as like kind of like floating like nearby, but not incorporated or not incorporated. And this is really just because otherwise the soul couldn't complete its mission here. Oftentimes this is because of something so intense or traumatizing that if it stayed incorporated, if it didn't kind of fragment off, it would be really, really hard to stay and to fulfill the soul's plan. And so if there are pieces of life that you have gaps in memory, and this isn't about like, oh, we don't remember anything before we're 2 because we're infants or whatever, right? It's not like that. It's periods of time where surrounding that period of time you do have memories, but there's like a gap. It's like a glitch in the film, right? That can be, it may not always be, but it can be a piece of a place where a soul has fragmented off. And so you can eventually get to a place where you can call back those fragments of yourself, but you can only call those fragments back when to a place, to a piece of the pie that is able to hold it, right? And so the reason that it fragmented off was because, let's say this happened when you were a child and as a child, this was too much for you to handle. That piece of the soul is not going to be able to come back until you are equipped to handle it. Because oftentimes what happens is those memories are reinstated. And it may not be in all of the detail, but there is a knowing or a general memory that may come with the retrieval of a soul fragment. And as the soul, you have to be in a position, and as the human, as the soul, as it all, as that piece of the pie, you have to be able to hold that memory and to be able to deal with it, and for it not to rail you in a way that would be catastrophic. And so soul fragments really only rejoin when that is the case, when you are able to hold it. And you can call back your soul fragments, but they will only rejoin you when you are able to hold it. And so what is the benefit of calling it back? So let's ask that. So the benefit of calling it back, the benefit of calling it back is to allow that trauma to be completed in this lifetime, or to be worked through, or to allow whatever that trauma is to, ideally, the reason that you would call back that soul fragment is so that that trauma doesn't follow you into the next lifetime. And the way that you do that is you can call back the soul fragment, you can deal with the trauma, you can do what you need to do in order to heal from the trauma, and then that trauma doesn't follow you. And so there's no pressure to do this. This is what they want to make really, really clear, is that there is absolutely no pressure to do this. This doesn't make you better or stronger if you do it, if you call back soul fragments. Really, what they want you to know is that, first of all, they won't come back unless you're ready. But also, there's no pressure on this at all. There's no pressure to call them back. There's no pressure to rush through that. There's no pressure to do it in the first place. There's no pressure to even get yourself ready to deal with it. There's no expectation on anyone to call back a soul fragment. It's just something that exists, and it's something that you can do, but there's no pressure at all to do it, if that makes sense. So just because this thing exists, or just because it's a possibility of something that can happen, doesn't mean necessarily that it's something that you have to shoot towards or work on or do anything about. And that is in the concept specifically about this, but then also just in the broader concept of, we're always kind of like chasing that completion of getting all the things done and all the things healed, and so they want to caution people around that being the goal of like reaching the finish line, right? And so this, first of all, is can be extremely tricky and intense work, and to not rush it and to not pressure yourself to do it at all, or certainly not rush it. So I hope that helped on soul fragmentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write them in the comments, and I can make a video explaining the answers to the questions. And until then, I hope you're having a great day. Take care.